Welcome to Another Triathlon Podcast, the podcast that brings the electrifying world of triathlons right into your headphones. Journey into captivating conversations, share the excitement of race recaps, enjoy the humor only a triathlete would understand, and join us as we debunk myths and bring you the bare, thrilling truths of the triathlon world. So feel your heart pound, breathe in anticipation, and get ready to dive into the world of triathlon. This is Another Triathlon Podcast. Enjoy the ride.
Hello, triathlon world. Welcome back to our 5th episode of Another Triathlon Podcast presented by Mauna Endurance. We're going to dive into all things swim, bike, run, and even a little bit of the Tour de France. You heard it. It's that time of year. We're going to indulge in some serious cycling geeking out alongside our usual triathlon chatter. As always, I'm thrilled to be joined by my fellow Mauna coach, Fede, and our resident triathlon fan, Josh. Welcome back, guys. We've got so much to get through today. How are you doing, Fede?
Good, Jenna. Good to see you, Josh. Excited about chatting along everything that's been going on in the endurance world, Tour de France, triathlon, and everything in between.
Absolutely. How about you, Josh? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Had a nice long weekend and ready to relax tomorrow for the 4th of July, but excited about this episode. We got a lot to talk about.
Absolutely. The agenda is packed. We'll be catching up on our own training, racing adventures. We'll definitely get into some questions from you, our listeners. And we're also going to present the always head-scratching, and this one even more so, WTF Moment of the week. We'll also do some race results, comparing our predictions, which I'm excited for that one, and our social media post of the week. And like I mentioned, with the Tour de France kicking off, there's going to be a bit of geeking out. We apologize in advance, but we love all things bicycles and endurance sports, and the peloton is taking off on some beautiful and challenging trains, so we definitely have to talk about it. Now, with all that being said, let's kick things off. Fede, how has your training been going? What's happening in your racing season coming up?
Thank you, Jenna. Yeah, training's been going good. I did a race simulation last weekend, and it went pretty well. I took lactate, and lactate was encouraging. So excited to see how that, correlates in next week, actually. I'm racing next week in Ecuador, so really excited about that. And also treating the mind, doing a little bit of golf on the side just to stay sane. So that's about it in my department. What about you guys?
Definitely all about the balance for sure. How about you, Josh? How's the training going?
Training's going well. This weekend was kind of my mental wellness space weekend as well, too. I mean, I worked hard, but I actually took the week off from my training calendar and knew I was going to get work in, but didn't really focus on any targets. But spent the weekend in New York and took 7 or 8 classes live at Peloton Studios and hung out with some friends in that community and celebrated some birthdays and things like that. But I got a lot of work in, a lot of good numbers up on the leaderboard, a lot of miles on the tread, a lot of miles on the bike, and had a great weekend. And now I'm ready to really start my marathon training block. So
just a relaxing start to it, easy 7 Peloton classes, no big deal.
No.
Relaxing weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Feeling good today. That's what matters.
That is awesome. Yeah, no, I had some fun this weekend too. It's Canada Day weekend, and I know down in the US you have July 4th coming up here. So sounds like everyone was getting tons of time riding in. And you know what? I decided to do something a little different than my last race. I went out and tested the equipment I'm going to use race day this time. So, I'm getting this dialed in here. But I was channeling my inner Daniela Reef. She was my inspiration this weekend. It was, I had a bit of a brick workout where just really wanted to fatigue the legs and then try some race pace running afterwards. So what I did was some long endurance intervals at like less than 70 RPM. Ooh. And Daniela Reef, Sutton and stuff are definitely known for that low cadence kind of riding in there. And it was a grind, literally. But no, it was so good. That's just a really great way if you are looking for a way on a little less time to get that really dead, fatigued legs feel. That works. I definitely felt it on the run afterwards, but it was fun to just kind of mix it up a little bit and, pretend as Daniela Reef while she was out there crushing it.
How did you feel doing the lower cadence? Like, how did your heart rate respond and stuff? Like, obviously the legs are going to get taxed and that's it, but is it taxing your cardio as much, or did you have more left there?
Yeah, so that's definitely the debate with it, and why Seto kind of does more of the low cadence work is that it does have less ask on your cardiovascular system. So your heart rate will be lower for the given power output, and the cost associated though is just the muscular strength and the fatigue it has in the legs in there. I don't know. I'm definitely muscular endurance, my favorite kind of workouts. I love that grind, so I absolutely love it. Race day, though, I am closer to kind of 80, 90 RPM, just because it is a lot more familiar and I find it easier to transition to the run. But it definitely is fun to mix it up a little bit, and you do have a lot less cardiovascular ask there. Although I did find out, so I've got a cold now, so my heart rate was high regardless, and I found out why. So I apologize. I'm going to mute myself if I start sneezing or coughing or anything, but at least I got the good workout in and it went well. So I can take a couple down days now.
Yeah. You're not going to lose that. Hopefully you're feeling better soon, but you got your work in. That's the good part, right?
Exactly. Now, one thing we mentioned at the beginning of every show is that this podcast is presented by Mauna Endurance, and they're more than just a sponsor. As you guys have heard, both myself and Fede are coaches for them. And they're a premier endurance sports team dedicated to supporting athletes of all levels in reaching their performance goals. We have a great team of coaches that provide personalized coaching, team camps. Oh, these team camps are just so much fun. Our last one was in Mexico at an all-inclusive resort. Mm-hmm. The key to a good training camp is access to food all of the time. So the all-inclusive resort was the perfect way to do it. But basically, this team has everything you need to just excel in your endurance journey. We also have some awesome sponsors, anything from Wahoo, Factor Bikes, Morton. We'll talk about a few other things that we use in our own training and racing, but they have some incredible sponsors, and they also have some of the best tri-suits on the market right now. They definitely go fast, as Fede can attest, and some good results my last race, so I think it goes pretty well. So definitely check out Mauna Endurance. It's an incredible team out there and just some of the best support. We get some entertaining conversations on our WhatsApp groups there for sure.
And I can attest to the bib shorts getting me through a lot of Peloton classes as well, because they definitely got tested this weekend, and they looked good, and I felt good after a bunch of classes, so they were awesome.
There you go. The best looking guy in the Peloton class for sure.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. We'll make sure we have I'll share the picture.
Perfect. Yeah, you'll have to send those over. We'll post them up at Another Triathlon Podcast. We got to do the plug. Come follow us on social media and definitely subscribe to the podcast there so we can keep bringing these to you. So let's kick it off today. We're starting to get a number of questions in the queue. We will jump into a few this week and then get into some of the other fun stuff we got on tap. So first question this week from Kaylee. Is there an approximate formula that you use for carbs or calories per kilogram per hour that you use for long runs? Also for hot races, especially the marathon portion of an Ironman. How do you ensure you're getting enough salt? Is it possible to take too much? Thanks, guys. Love listening to the podcast on my long runs. Okay. Fede, would you like to dive into this one?
Yeah, great question. There is actually a way that you can sort of know your sweat rate, and that would be doing a sweat test, whether in the lab, or you could just weigh yourself before, let's say, a hard run or a hard bike workout, and then weigh your fluid, whatever you're going to consume during that workout, and then weigh yourself after and subtract the amount of fluid you took. And that will give you a rough estimate of your fluid losses. That, however, is not your sodium losses or your electrolyte losses. So for that, you need to go into a lab or get one of those patches that they sell online, and they're okay. and they give you a rough estimate of how much sodium you're losing per liter, and that is a fixed number. You're born with it, and you're set for life with that number. So no matter where you race, no matter how hot it is, how cold it is, that's the amount of sodium you're going to lose per liter of or per ounces of water. Of course, the rate that you're going to lose that amount of fluid is going to change depending on the conditions. So in a race like Kona, for example, you're going to be taking a lot more fluids than in Alaska. So just be aware of that. And once you know the number, stick to it, uh, because that's going to save you from bunking. And there's no risk in taking too much sodium. I mean, the only risk would be vanity in waking up the next day a bit puffy, but that's about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to kind of calories on the run, especially in the marathon for an Ironman, basically a rough guideline is about 0.7 grams per kilogram per hour that you want to try to get in. So for most athletes, that's like anywhere from 40 to 70 grams per hour, probably a little higher than that. So that's like, let's say a couple gels an hour if you can get them in. But the thing with fueling for an Ironman is as you get further into the day, you're putting more stress on your stomach because your body is pulling the water from your stomach to your working muscles to cool you down, to keep you going. So digestion gets a lot harder as you go through the race. So ideally, you'll get in, kind of bank some calories on the bike to a degree. So you can get a lot more calories on the bike while you're riding. Your stomach will digest it easier. So you want to make sure that you're minimizing your losses on the bike so that when you do go into the run, you're not starting in a crazy deep hole. So I like to
Yeah.
really have athletes do some testing when they're leading into race day, basically seeing how many calories they can take in on the bike and still feel good on the run. So they're not, bloated and burping up or feeling like they have to puke, which is just not fun for anyone. So when it comes to the calorie side of things, that 0.7 grams per kilogram per hour is a good starting range to kind of start to play around with. But you definitely want to test it out and practice beforehand and make sure that you're one, not going into the run completely depleted, and two, you have a calorie source that feels pretty solid for your stomach. That'll help you kind of keep fueled the rest of the way through. Yeah. Well,
and I would definitely say, I mean, there's so many options out there in terms of the sweat and the sodium testing too. And like Fede said, obviously, ideally, it's getting to a lab if you want to really get it locked in. I've used the online like Gatorade Endurance patch, and it comes with 2 patches, and you just upload a picture or QR code to an iPhone app. I'm a big sweater, sodium loss person, so my numbers are way higher. Without that, I'd be bunking every run. And it's now allowed me to prepare while on the bike and have the right fuel on the bike. So I'm taking a lot more carbs. It definitely depends on who you are. So you have to race and or I guess practice on the nutrition piece of it while you're doing your longer brick runs or brick rides and 2.5, 3 hour rides with threshold work in there and really figure out what it is that you need on the carbohydrates and all of that. So my numbers are a lot higher than most people. Some people don't need as much, but you got to figure out what works for you. And I know from my first to my second race, I definitely had a much better feel off the bike into the run because I had a better fueling plan.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes such a big difference. And you know what? You can be the fittest person in the world. If you're bonking or puking on the side of the road, it does not matter. But one thing I do want to mention on the electrolyte side of things is so often electrolytes get blamed for cramping during some of these races. And while it can be a contributing factor, a lot of times cramping is a case of your muscles are doing something harder for longer than they've actually ever done before. So the key there, make sure that you're well trained for the event. So if you're going out and doing an Ironman, and your longest ride was 3 hours, your longest run was an hour, and your legs start cramping on the run, that's likely not electrolytes. So goal number one, get the training in so that your muscles can support the racing and the intensity that you're aiming for. And then 2, taking those electrolytes so that you have the electrolytes to prevent that cramping. Oh, and one thing that I found actually worked really, really well is if you do start to cramp on a run and it is a case of electrolytes, pickle juice. Oddly
Yes.
enough, it sends this signal to your brain and your brain thinks, okay, this is coming on board. So I'll ease up this muscle. It doesn't have enough time to actually do anything, but your brain sees it as, okay, we got this coming on board. We can ease this off a little bit. So that's a really good one if you are in the throes of it and need something fast.
We should have the users send in like some tricks that they have if they've gotten into a detriment. Like I know potato chips. I saw those in Oceanside.
Absolutely. I love it. We will do a call to action there. Let us know what you like to use to help get that sodium in when you need it badly on race day.
One thing that really works really well.
Also train position too. Like make sure you're in the right aero position long enough while you're training. So when you actually get out on the course and you're riding for 2 hours in aero, you're used to it. If you're riding on a road bike, you're getting the miles in, but your muscles are not working the same way.
Absolutely. And what were you saying there, Fede?
Oh yeah, I was just going to say that one thing that really works as well is soy sauce. So pickle juice, soy sauce, that works really, really good. I've tested it and it has saved me from cramping really, really bad. Also, it's really important to share with the audience that you need to practice your fluid intake and your carbohydrate intake at the intensity you're going to be racing at, because the gut reacts differently at different intensities. You're going to react totally different doing a recovery run and then doing a tempo work or a race-based type of effort. So make sure you practice your race pace with the race nutrition at the right amount of time, just because the body reacts differently all the time.
Definitely. Well, that brings us to our next question here. I actually pulled this one out because of what you said here, Josh. We had a question from Kenneth. I got a very bad back pain just after starting the run. I couldn't move any faster as the pain was too much. What could be the cause? So, team, any guesses on what could be the cause there?
A few thoughts.
There's a few points we could talk about here.
So I just mentioned it, right? I mean, the practice and the training. So I would imagine Ken probably had some training that wasn't in the ideal position or in the matching position to what he was going to be in during that race that he felt this pain in. I think the other thing that I've learned in my training as well is it's not just about the miles and getting all the work in. It's the work before and after, making sure your muscles are recovered and your joints are recovered and getting those hips open back up, especially. I mean, the hips and the glutes are a big part of what's going on with your back, and that ties into your hamstring, and it all ties in together. So it might be your back on race day, but it's probably not your back causing that problem.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things when you're looking at back pain in triathlon, especially with a TT bike, is a bike fit. Like, it drives me crazy when I see people on $10,000 bicycles who have not invested in getting a bike fit. Like, it really, riding for 5 hours does not have to be painful. If you have the right fit, it can be comfortable and not a problem. If you have back pain, especially lower back pain, is often a case of people have their saddles too high. Just as a very general overview, that's typically the first thing I see with athletes. If you have your saddle too high, then your hips are rocking side to side, you're torquing your back the entire way, and that just feels terrible. But that's one of the first thing I recommend athletes get is once you have your bike, get a good bike fit, because you are spending so many hours in that position, so many pedal strokes. If you're out by just a little bit, you can have knee pain issues, IT band issues, back issues, neck issues. Like it doesn't make sense to spend so much time training if you're going to be causing yourself injury with a bad bike fit. So that's one of my things that I preach about a fair bit. And it just helps you use the right muscles too. Like if you have the wrong position, it's a case of you might be using primarily quads instead of your whole posterior chain. Like you mentioned, glutes are this big, strong muscle. So when you get off to the run, your legs will literally feel like bricks because you've just trashed your quads. Or it could be a case of causing high issues in your hamstrings because you're overextending those. There are so many preventable issues. by investing in a decent bike fit.
And it's something
Absolutely.
that can be done overnight, right? It's
Oh,
something that's totally avoidable and something you don't have to train for. You can just go to your local feeder, talk to him or her about your aches and pains, and it's usually a fit problem. And if it's not, then you probably want to look into your strength and conditioning program, how flexible you are, and, and that stuff. But first, go to a feeder and get the fit right because it's just gonna be night and day difference.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to hurt.
No.
It doesn't have to hurt. You don't have to have terrible saddle sores. Like, just, go get a bike fit. Awesome. Any other thoughts on that for our listener, Kenneth, here?
No, I think we touched on it all.
Yeah.
Like it. Well, let's jump into our what the F moment of the week. And this one definitely, like, this can't be real, but it's definitely an eye catcher here. Have you guys heard about the enhanced games?
The enhanced games. Tell us more about that, Jenna.
It is crazy. So there's this video out there on the internet that's talking about a version of the Olympics, but they think everyone's doping the Olympics anyways. So let's just go all out and have a drug charged version of the Olympics where basically they have doctors out there and they will dope you to the gills so that you can have the ultimate performance possible. It'll never happen, but they're saying that it's safer because they will have doctors kind of watching in on everything. And they had a guy claiming that he was the fastest man in the world and he won't reveal his identity until these games happen because he doesn't want the stigma of doping to get these fast times. So I think it's all some kind of farce where they're just trying to get attention. This will never ever happen. But it was an interesting concept to think about for a second. What do you guys think about having an Olympic Games where anything's fair game and we just see what the absolute limits of human performance are enhanced?
Oh man. Well, you have to looking at it into with the medical side and the medical perspective, this wouldn't be a fair competition just because everyone responds differently to different substances. So let's say you have two persons, one with a with a super high VO2 max and another one with a lower VO2 max. If you give them both EPO, the second person is going to respond way better just because the first one is maxed out naturally with the VO2 max. So even if they do it, it wouldn't be fair for athletes just because everyone's differently.
Fede, we're just losing you here.
Yeah, Fede, we're losing you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. If you want to start again on that, I will cut out the in between.
Oh, yeah, I'll start again. Okay. So, just looking at the physiological standpoint and the medical standpoint, it wouldn't be a fair competition for everyone just because people respond differently with different substances. So everyone would need to be on the same substance, looking at the performance enhancement that they get with each substance to make it a fair competition. Otherwise, it would still be cheating in my book, just because Josh might respond completely different than me with EPO. So it's just wild, and I think it's just an attention grabbing type of news.
Yeah, it just kind of, to me, like, the Olympics have always been that purest form of sport, and it's so traditional, and to have something different, it's like creating the XFL or again, it's probably made for TV Olympics type stuff. That's even more so. It's not for me, but I'm sure people are going to always try and test the limits of everything, right? So it's not surprising that this is out there, but I definitely wouldn't vote for it.
Yeah, no. If anything, I'm guessing it's some kind of shine a spotlight on the Olympics and some of the controversies and stuff in there with the money they make and how athletes are compensated and along those lines. But it is an interesting concept to think about, to say the least. It would, man, I'd be curious to see how fast they actually could go. We definitely saw in triathlon earlier this year that you can go from mediocre to hero if you do it. So it'd be crazy to see what those times actually look like. But same thing, I don't think they should go ahead, and I don't think it's really real, but
But that's
it
why
was
it's in our
definitely
WTF section.
absolutely. Well, from there, let's jump into our social media post of the week. Josh, did you notice anything interesting on the socials recently?
So yeah, I've been catching my eye has been Alexi Vermeulen. I'm not sure if everyone's familiar with Alexi and his dog Sir Willie the Wiener.
I love that name.
Who's got his own Instagram account as well. But they took it as far as taking their bike rides out to the wind tunnel. And there's a really cool reel that he put out recently, starting in the wind tunnel, and his pup Willie the Wiener went for a ride, and they locked in their position. And man, that dog has a lot of fun and goes really fast. So they've got a specially designed backpack and everything. So it's taken triathlon to a new level with the Wiener on the ride.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to picture this, guys. We'll put a link to the post in our show notes here, but he's literally in the wind tunnel, down in race position with this adorable dog on his back, testing it out.
It's got over 190,000 likes now too. I mean, it's definitely been seen, and it's making its way around. So definitely check it out. Alexi Vermeulen and his dog Sir Willie the Wiener.
He is living his best life there. I love it.
And if you see anything out there, send those Instagram posts in to us and let us know what you see out there as well. We'll keep doing our best to throw out some good ones, but always welcome to throw in your thoughts as well.
I actually apparently caused a bit of a stir on Instagram this morning. So I finished my ride yesterday, and it was 59.9 miles. People did not appreciate that it was neither 60 miles or that's like 94 kilometers. I didn't go to 100 kilometers. It was 59.9. And apparently that cannot be done. But I'm not about to start circling a parking lot to get another 0.1 mile. In the earlier days, I probably would have, not going to lie. But these days I'm like, it doesn't make any difference in the fitness, but I'm pretty scattered. Round numbers don't bug me much.
Hey, maybe it's a new social media algorithm that you just cracked too, right?
There we go.
No, I think my walk I just did just to get outside and flush some of the legs a little bit. I just did a walk, and now that you talk about it, I think it was 2.49 miles, and that does bug me a little bit.
Honestly, I think when you're all new and motivated and excited in every workout, it just has to be like exact. That's in your head, which is totally understandable in there because, it's a big thing hitting numbers and you're chasing that. After all, it's kind of like, I'm tired. It does the job. I'm good.
Yeah. I'm with you though. You did your work. That's what matters the most. But I can see that the mathematical brain in me is definitely going.
Yeah.
So
let's jump into some race results. We had some great race results this weekend. It seems like all is right in the world with some of the goats back on top here. Fede, what should we start with on the racing side?
Oh, we had a lot of races, but should we talk about the elephant in the room and talk about the goats 70.3 win at 70.3 Andorra?
I mean, we gotta.
Yeah, we kind of have to, right? Yeah. We had 70.3 Andorra over the weekend, and Jan made a very quiet appearance there. He didn't post anything. He just showed up at the start line and raced his brains out, and he finished in 4:25.47, which to the naked eye might seem like a slow time for a professional, but this course is brutal. I mean, it went from, like, the elevation gain was 2,430 meters, so like 7,900 feet over 90 Ks. that's a lot of climbing. A lot of people were riding road bikes. But, Jan being the pro of the pros, he rode his TT bike, and I'm guessing it has to do with testing stuff for the world champs in Nice. So, kudos on him, and he ran a 1:14 or 1:15, something around that ballpark. So it was a very interesting race to see. And it's good to see him back on top. He's had a couple of rough starts in the past few months, but now he just went in and took the victory. And we had another German, Jonas Schomburg, coming in second, and a Spaniard, Jordi Montaveta, finishing in third. So good racing for the gents. And on the women's side, we had Ashley Gentle taking the win. He keeps dominating the sport, and she actually rode a road bike. Then we had Emma Pallant Brown in second place, and Germany's Daniela Kleiser in third. So good racing in 70.3. And Dora, I don't know if you guys want to talk about other stuff that happened in that race.
Well, it's so good to see Ash Gentle. She has been dominating the PTO distance, and she had some good 70.3s, but now it seems like she's really stepped up to that distance a lot more. She had a great performance out there, and like I said, all is right with the world again. Jan back on top. It'll be interesting to see how this translates over. Do you guys know, is he doing 70.3 worlds, or is he
I
just
don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I am so curious to see. It's been a couple years since we've really seen Jan, so can't wait to see how he tears it up when we get onto the world stage here. I'm hoping he's racing his way to fitness and we see something pretty cool out there.
He's definitely talking like he is, right? I mean, everything that comes out of his mouth tends to lead towards Nice and the championships and being prepared for that. And he's not upset by bad results or bad training days because he knows what he's progressing towards. And it seems like the big picture is that world championship race. So it's going to be a pretty classic event for sure. And now he's training on a very similar course. And he even said that, I think in his Instagram post, he talked about this was a great training ride for that and in that hill course. I did a double take when I saw the bike time. And then you see some of the other 70.3 bike times and they weren't even like pro races. And you're like, wait, what happened? Then the elevation and it's like, oh my God.
That is a lot of climbing, but it's funny with Jan. He's so good at playing the game. So I think whether he was feeling awesome, terrible, or whatever, he's going to keep putting it out there that, it's just a little step along the way because I am all dialed in and ready to go for knees, like starting to play with the head games a little bit in there. He will not show anything other than I'm going to destroy you all, so you better watch out for me, and start to get into the heads of his competitors a little bit there.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely,
awesome. What else do we have going on this weekend?
Well, did you see Jan come out of the water?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
We forgot about that. I was like, what was that? He's got footwear.
Yeah.
So he came out of the water. I think I saw there was a video that they had put up. I think Ironman or somebody shared a video of the swim exit. And all of a sudden he darted off to the right and there was like a section of cubbies with footwear apparently. And next thing you know, he's running out of the swim with slides on, with flip-flops on. And then you see a post that he put up where he's got the same shoes still on and he's now running with his bike out of onto the mount area. So I'm not sure what they had to run across that warranted having flops on, but definitely curious to find out.
Yeah, I don't think Jan was, it wasn't worth it for him taking the extra seconds and having blistered feet. I think it just goes to show how easy he took it on over the weekend. I'm just going to take my time, wear flip-flops. I'm still going to beat you all.
That is a statement, I have to say. Should have just done the rest of the run in them. Totally destroy everyone.
Oh, wow.
Mess with their heads completely. I can just jog on by in flip-flops this whole time. I still gotcha.
No big deal.
Love it. What else do we have going on here?
We had 70.3 Les Sables in France. and we had Leon Chevalier taking the win, Arnaud Guillot coming in second, and Pierre Lecour coming in third. And of course, Pierre Lecour comes from a short course background, and he's in the right direction for middle distance. And I have yet to see him on a long distance starting line, but I think he's going to be really good because he is an amazing runner, and he's the type of runner who doesn't slow down. So to see him over the marathon distance would be very, very interesting. Hopefully, we'll see him jumping into the Ironman train in the next couple of months or years. And on the women's side, we had Charlene Clavel taking the win, Emile Monnier taking second place, and Germany's Lisa Gerf running up the podium on 70.3 Les Sables. Another thing I wanted to talk about is we had 70.3 Lahti in Finland. This was only an age group race, but for our listeners, if you wanna take the win, these were the overall times for the men's and the women's. The fastest guy went 3:56, and the fastest girl went 4:35. So I think this is going to be a fast race for Worlds in the next coming months.
Yeah, I think we'll see even faster with a more top-heavy front end of the field there with all of the age groupers who qualified. It'll be interesting to see actually how much faster, if they do, how much faster they go come World Championships if it's all in the same course there compared to the regular race on its own.
Absolutely. And then we had Ironman Frankfurt as well over the weekend. And this was pro field only in the women's side. And somebody here is very excited to crack the news because we had a little wager on.
We sure did after a winning weekend last time with Fede getting them all right here. So happy to say Sarah True busted it out. She got it done and took the win. So I'm happy to make some points there in our little competition going for the race predictions. Although I still have to figure out what that's going to look like. But we will get all the results and figure that out later.
We were all tracking those bragging rights, that's for sure.
I
had the lead until 10 kilometers to go, and then it was Sarah just kind of waved and said goodbye, and wow, she took off from there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Sky had an amazing race. Yeah, of course, Sarah True won, which is very good to see her back on the winning horse. She finished in 8:54:53, so super fast. Then Sky, as you said, Josh, in 8:57:30, and then we had Anishka Yatsky. Sorry if I mispronounced that. She finished in 9:02:53. So they were pretty close together, especially Sky and Anishka. But Sarah just ran away from everyone, huh? She just took off and never looked back.
Yeah, it was an impressive finish for sure. And I think, looking back, the two of them seem to race a lot together in some of these races, and they have close finishes and close battles too. And it's not the first time that they've had that. So you could almost see the camaraderie as she passed her with like 10K to go. So really cool battle. There weren't a lot of big races this weekend, so it was pretty awesome to see the GOAT get out there, and then those two battle it all the way to the finish.
100%.
That's important in the race too. Like, you know what, on race day, we're all competitors out there to get each other, but it's nice to have kind of friends out there where maybe you train with them, race with them a lot, know them a lot, like the kind of Lionel Sanders, Sam Long kind of thing. Like it's fun to see that sportsmanship on course too. And that's always a tough feeling when you're getting past that far along in the race.
Yeah. Oh.
Definitely. How many 10Ks have you run? You're like, that's all I got.
It's always fun. I tell the athletes that I coach the last 5K of any race, you've run 5K a million times, just go suffer. But there reaches a point where you just have nothing left to give.
Especially at the end of a full Ironman.
Especially, yeah. We also had Challenge Walsh, and this was a very interesting race. Frederick Funk took the win. And something I wanted to mention about Frederick, besides that we share the same name and that he's awesome because of that, is the fact that he's very open with his numbers and with his training. You can ask him questions and he always answers. He doesn't hide anything. So I think this is what the sport needs to be more accessible for people. He doesn't shy away from telling you what power he pushed, his heart rate, everything. Of course, everyone's different, and power only means something to you because of your own CDA and your bike position and everything. But he's very open about it, and it's really, really good to see. And I wanted to share with you guys. He rode 315 watts average, 337 normalized, for a 2-hour flat bike split. So he was moving. And then we had in second place Tom Bishop from Great Britain and Jan Stratman from Germany coming in third place. And on the women's side, we had Imogen Simmons taking the victory from Switzerland, which is really good to see her back on the winning horse again. She has been struggling with injury lately, so it's really good to see her back on top. We had again another Brit, Lucy Buckingham, coming in second, and another Lucy Bryan, running up the podium in third. So yeah, exciting racing over the weekend, and just very, very glad that Frederick shares all his details. So he's a good guy.
Yeah, does he share that on like Strava, or does he share it on social media? Like how do you get those numbers? Because to me, as an age group fan and things like that, I've always wished that you could see the numbers during a race, like the Tour de France and things like, what is their bike computer saying? Like, what are they actually pushing at these times and things like that? So it's really cool to hear that.
Yeah. So he shares that on Strava and on Instagram. Usually on his race recaps, he would type the power he rode, the heart rate, everything, and you can just ask him, and he's very open about it. So he goes by the motto of no secrets, just because the sport has been suffering from shady stuff, so he wants to obliterate that by sharing everything. So kudos on him.
Love to see it. And we're always curious too, like that's half the fun of racing triathlon, is it's a unique opportunity where you're on the same course as the pros on the same day, so you can kind of test yourself and see how you actually compare to them. But this opens that up even more, where you can start to see some of these power numbers, which are absolutely impressive and crazy age groupers.
Yeah, I'm not pushing 330 for 2 hours, that's for sure.
only 310, right?
329 maybe.
No, it's pretty cool to see, which actually brings us to something that we want to geek out on a little bit, and Fede did some work here, but the Tour de France got started this weekend, and it is so good to see it back. Now, I'm a very new to Tour de France super fan in here. I just started watching it last year with some of the work that I do with L'Etape by Tour de France. But I got absolutely sucked in last year, started geeking out on bike racing, and it is so good to watch, and it's so much fun to watch. But it's kind of challenging to get into when you get started. Like if you don't know how the race dynamics work or the team dynamics, at first was like, well, why is this guy pulling the other guy along? Like, shouldn't he be going for the win? So is outside of my understanding of endurance sports, coming from triathlon, where it's such a individual sport, no one works for you, you get in trouble if someone works for you, to seeing all these teams kind of rally around one guy. And I found, especially watching last year with like Wout van Aert going out off the front of everything, and it's like, oh no, he has no shot to win. He's not trying to win. It's like, why not? He's winning everything. Why would he try to win? But this year, I'm a little bit more well versed. But what we wanted to do was talk a little less about the results so far. But Fede had some really great insight into what cyclists, what kind of power they're putting out compared to triathletes, and you'll be able to translate that down into your own experience as an age group triathlete. So we're talking like age group triathletes are one thing. The pro triathletes, like we were just mentioning, have some crazy numbers. And then you go Tour de France level, and it is a whole new ball game. So Fede, you had some great insights into this. What did you want to let us know about some of those crazy power numbers in the Tour de France?
Yeah, so I just wanted to, tip off my hat to each and one of the athletes who is open about his data and sharing all of this. I think it's pointing in the right direction for endurance sports, like I said. And I just wanted to put perspective into ourselves and the listeners about just how hard something like the Tour de France is.
Mhm.
And I wanted to start off by mentioning just how many calories they burn throughout the 21 stages. I mean, these guys go anywhere from 76,000 to 95,000 calories throughout the whole 21 stages. That's like 20 cans of Coke and like 18 Big Macs in one day. Imagine. Just
Oh, you'd just be tired of eating at that point. Your jaw would get worked out.
no, I couldn't eat that, but they just burn through all of this, and of course they have to fuel properly. So these guys are the perfect example of fueling for performance. Everything they do from the moment their feet touches the ground, they're eating, they're drinking, they're fueling in the race. So these guys are just on top of it. And now, jumping into the details, I wanted to share some numbers from Adam Yates, the guy who won the first stage on the tour, which, fun fact, he has a twin brother riding for a different team. And, Hollywood couldn't write this script. These guys were toe-to-toe in a sprint finish for stage one. And, of course, one of the twins, Adam, got the better of his brother due to cramps because he didn't have any pickle juice on his back pocket.
It's funny. I was doing a little looking into this here because obviously it's something that you don't see too often where we have these families where they have superstars in there. I mean, you got like the Brownlee brothers, they're definitely ones. But it's only happened two other times in the history of the Tour de France. And one, I think, was, God, I might get this date wrong. It's the top of my head, but it was like 1923. Like two brothers won it in there. And then you had in 2011, it was like Andy Schleck and Frank
Yep.
Schleck had
Yep.
their wins in there too. And it's interesting this one because they're on different teams, so at least they're competing against each other. But the like Andy and Frank thing, like how do you and your brother on the same team competing against each other all the time, and you're both kind of angling for who's going to be the front man in there? I can't imagine like dynamics of that, right? Like
Oh,
you end up being the front runner, but that would be tough with family.
And to do it 182 kilometers and be separated by 4 seconds, like that's a lot of clout at the next dinner table.
Now, do mom and dad like separate it out, or both cheering for both, or do they have to take sides and they're cheer one on so they both feel supported? How does that work?
Mom's got a shirt with half of each team jersey.
Yeah,
There we go.
like the Kelsey brothers in the Super Bowl, right? That
Right,
she had half and half. Yeah.
Sorry to go on that tangent there. Yeah, it's just you don't see that too often. That's pretty incredible to see two brothers kind of coming to be the best in the world and beating out the best in the world together.
Right, and take down Toddy, right? Toddy was in third behind them.
Yeah.
So I mean pretty awesome start to the tour for sure.
Absolutely. Which, I mean, Tade was stoked because his teammate won the sprint, Adam, the twin of Simon Yates. And after, the way Tade celebrated, you can see that the team dynamic is very healthy. And now that Adam won, he's going to work his ass off for Tade in the next couple of stages. He's going to pull him through the mountains. So, yeah, it's very, very exciting to see. And I just want to share the details from Adam's victory. So he rode 214 watts average, which, to the naked eye might seem like on the low side, but he is 58 kilos. So, I mean, I think a golden retriever is heavier than Adam Yates. That puts him at 3.68 watts per kilograms, but that's not the most exciting stuff. His peak power was 866 watts. That's
that on long trainer rides.
I mean, that's 14.9 watts per kilo. That was a sprint. His peak power for 1 minute was 545, 9.3 watts per kilogram. His 20-minute peak power was 368, so 6.3 watts per kilo.
Jeez.
And he had to sprint after putting that amount of power. So these guys it's a completely different sport.
Oh, I mean, crazy.
And just to put a little perspective, Sam Laidlow, a challenge Roth, he rode 317 watts for the 180K. And you start to see the 4.2 watts per kilo, it's a lot, but it's a more even effort, Ironman racing and bike racing. Bike racing is a bit more dynamic. You kind of have to go when the group goes, because Sam was fairly consistent throughout his power, not a lot of spikes. His 20-minute peak power was 356, and that's 4.7 watts per kilo. And that's roughly what he does for like a 70.3. So you kind of start to notice the type of differences in training these guys need to do to be able to cope with the demands of the racing. Yes, you might be able to push 3.68 watts per kilo for like 4 hours, but you're going to be dead last in the peloton if you're not able to put 6.3 watts per kilo for 20 minutes to stay in the group during the climb and then sprint. So just kudos on how fast these guys clear out lactate and they're able to produce power.
It's a different game. I started doing some bike racing last year, and it was funny. I did a course where I knew the road pretty well, but I was training for Ironman, so everything's kind of steady state. Maybe you get into some sweet spot stuff, but not a ton of VO2 or high intensity or anything sustained very, very long. That was one of the hardest races I've ever done in my life, because it is easy, max effort for 5 minutes. Easy, max effort for this 10-minute hill. And I was so destroyed after that. And it was so funny because I went back and I'm like, I could go ride this in zone 2 on my TT bike by myself and just cruise, and I would have gone faster. Overall. And I would have felt great. This is so much more painful. Just that up and down and in and out. It is so much more stressful on your body than cruising at that steady state. It's a whole different energy system for sure.
And they're doing it for 3 weeks straight every day. That's the mind-boggling part, right? Just to see what they do to get ready for the next day and then ride another 4.5, 5 hours the next day. That's why I was like, is their time trial day their day off? It's like, it's unbelievable what they're able to do day after day after day. And it's not like the sprinters can take it easy. An easy day for them is still these crazy numbers. They still have to get to the finish line in a certain amount of time to get to the next stage. It's crazy. I think today's sprint, there was like a photo finish and things. These guys are going and going. And then the rest of the tour, they're helping their teammates in the GC get to the top of the mountain.
I once challenged Alberto Contador to a sprint up a hill. That was a terrible idea.
How did that go?
I got to see firsthand. Is. Just kind of played with me for a second. He's like, no, go. You're going pretty good. And then flew past, and it was just like, I may as well be standing still here. That was, that was embarrassing.
Some extra gears.
Yeah. No,
but you lost to Contador, who is arguably one of the best cyclists out there in history. So, nothing to be ashamed for.
Fair enough. I'll take that. Yeah, no, it was just fun to see that difference up there, going uphill. I'm like, I'm going pretty good. I'm feeling strong. I'm fit, and just not even close. Hold on to his wheel for 0.001 of a second as he flies by. That was a fun challenge there, but yeah, no, these guys are on a whole different level, and it's crazy hearing some of the stories of what those 3 weeks kind of hold.
Jenna, you talked about the bike racing that you'd done and how different it was and the spikes and all of that. I hear more and more of the cross-training aspect in a lot of triathletes doing different sports and even swim sprints and do swim races and do road races. How important do you guys as coaches feel that it is to step out of just doing triathlon in a race atmosphere? And how does it help mindset or anything? What do you teach your athletes to do if they want to go run a marathon or if they want to go run a half or get into a bike race or a swimming event? Is that something that you kind of promote?
Yeah, it definitely is time of year dependent, depending on what sports they want to do in there. So you want to have your eye on the overall periodization of the training if you have a goal race that you're really, really going for. And I find there are kind of two types of athletes. There are athletes who want to be kind of fit for life so that they can go jump into a marathon, go jump into a Grand Fondo, go do a bike race. And that it's a lot easier to kind of work in a lot of different fun things, go for a hike, do some crazy strength training, and just kind of have fun with it all. And then there are athletes who are more very focused on the goal, where this Ironman race is their absolute goal. They're trying to qualify for Kona. And in those cases, we have to work on the timing a little bit more. So something like a marathon, you definitely don't want to do in like the 5 months before a goal Ironman, where you're really trying to go fast as you can possibly go. But bike races, they're definitely a lot easier to kind of fit into the training there, because it is a hard training day, but you can recover a lot faster from a bike race than any kind of running races in there. For most athletes, I definitely say if it's a fun challenge and something that excites you, we can work most of it in, because at the end of the day, you're doing this for a personal challenge and fun, and you're not a professional athlete. You probably won't see the pros go do a bunch of different, like go on a CrossFit workouts or stuff. But for age groupers, mentally, physically, I think it's good to do the stuff that excites you and sounds like fun in the lead up there. And then I'm just a massive fan of strength training in general for triathlon training. So I
Yeah.
always think that's a good option, professional, amateur, or otherwise.
I still have to get my strength workout in tonight. So glad to hear.
And it's important.
Yeah, just adding up on what Jenna said. I mean, she said it perfectly. I always tell my athletes that, what are your goals? Like, if you want to qualify for Worlds, or you just want to complete the race and be happy, just because the demands of each race is different. So I tend to work from the general fitness idea to the more specific type of effort. So if they want to perform good, let's say at a 70.3, I might suggest them that maybe doing a sprint triathlon 2 weeks prior is not the best of idea, just because the training is so different. But if it's like in their off season and they just want to have fun, I would say just go for it. But being good at one distance takes a lot of time and effort, and energy systems are trained differently. If you want to do a sprint and perform well, you want to be doing a lot of VO2 type of work, the type of intensity that Jenna sort of hates. And if they want to do well in Ironman, then you're not going to be doing VO2 type of efforts, 2 weeks before the race, because it doesn't make any sense. So it's just about time frames and understanding where they're at and what they want to achieve from each race in particular.
I think the biggest thing there is timing, right? And what are the goals, and what are the timing related to those goals?
Absolutely.
Is there anything else you wanted to chat about, Fede, about France and the pro cyclists out here?
Something I wanted to talk about and to touch on is something that the pro peloton has been using for years, and now it's become a little bit more commercial and people are using it more, and that is ketones. So what are ketones? What do they use them for? Do they work? What if the average person uses them? So ketones, it's a substance that if you do long periods of fasting, or if you're like on a ketogenic diet, your body produces ketones for energy. They're an energy source, and it eats fat. The fat is the fuel for ketones. So you have more mental clarity. You can arguably last longer in certain type of efforts. And the pro peloton is using them for the past couple of years. One, for recovery, because they help with inflammation, and two, for their cognitive functioning. And there are studies that suggest that they may spare your exogenous carbohydrates, so that maybe you can use them for later on stages in the race. So this is a very new subject that it's going to be very interesting to see if they ever come out and publish their exact protocols and the dosages they're using it for. because if you use too much of them, you can have like gut issues. But it's definitely something very exciting to see if for the next couple of weeks and months to see if they actually benefit the guys riding in the tour.
Yeah, they'll be interesting to see because it was funny in talking both with Contador and Andy Schleck these last few months here. They would tell me crazy stories of how they would go do these like 5, 6, 7 hour rides and just not eat anything afterwards, trying to get lean in the lead up and kind of work on some of that fat optimization. And you got to imagine ketones might be a better way to help support that in there. And I can imagine doing that anyways, but it'll be really interesting to see how the Pro Peloton responds to that and if it really does make a big difference.
Absolutely.
I mean, they've been talking about it. I know Lance and Hincapie have been talking about it a lot on their show, and I've actually been using them for a couple months now on a daily basis for the most part. Definitely on the bigger training days, but as Fede was saying, they're good for recovery. They're good for cognitive stuff as well. So even today being a lower impact day for me, I still took my ketone shot this afternoon, knowing that I was going to be doing some work this afternoon in terms of my training. And we had the podcast. I had to be mentally clear, right? So it's definitely been something that I've noticed a difference in how I am able to recover and have factored it into even using my Whoop that I have and have a daily journal that keeps track of when I do take it and what the impact is.
Oh, very
That's
interesting.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Speaking
great to
of
have.
Whoop. Oh, sorry.
Oh, all good. Yeah, just good to get some in-person feedback from an age group or triathlete. What were you going to say about Whoop, Fede?
I was going to say, speaking of Whoop, there are certain teams in the tour that are sponsored by Whoop. And Whoop, for the listeners, they measure how heavy a training session was, and they go from 0 to 21 in terms of score. And they are uploading the files of their riders, and each one of them has a score of like 20, 21. Imagine having a strength score of 21 for 21 days. That just blows my mind. So yeah, I'm sure those guys are getting on the ketones to recover faster.
It is absolutely insane what they can put their bodies through for that long. Wasn't it something like 30,000 feet of climbing already? Like it is crazy what these guys do day after day after day. It's so impressive.
Yeah. And we complain as triathletes when we have to climb more than 400 feet on a race.
I was going to say, yes. Why is it such a hard course? Just climbing.
And I just posted today how I was so proud of my Whoop score from yesterday and all my classes I took. And now Fede's like, yeah, they do that for 21 days straight. Because I had a 20.6 yesterday, Fede, which I thought might have been like, but it was
there you go.
I know what my recovery score was today. It wasn't as high as I had hoped. It actually wasn't as low as I thought either. But I think maybe the ketones helped there too.
Awesome. Well, let's wrap it up with some predictions for next week. We have Ironman Switzerland coming up. So let's see who you think will take it here. So here are some of the top names out there. Got Jan van Berkel, Maurice Clavel, Patrick Nielsen, Andre Salzberg, Rasmus Svensson, Matthias Peterson, Dominic. So, okay, I don't even know that one. And I was going to go to 10, but we have number 11 on here that I cannot imagine is racing. And if he is, my mind is going to be blown and I might think he's a little bit insane. But we have Cam Wurf on this start
my
as well.
God.
If this man is doing 3 Ironmans within a month, I don't even know. I don't know what to say about that, but I'm guessing he'll be a drop off there. So, who do you guys think? Actually, we should start rotating these picks in here, but let's take a look. Josh, who do you think will take it this weekend in Switzerland?
Oh, man. We can't. There's no way I can pick Cam because I like you. There's no way he's showing up to that start line, but he did do back-to-back, right? So you never know.
You never know.
I'm going to go with a back-to-back another one. I mean, he's raced recently too. I think he raced against Cam, Matthias Peterson.
Love it. How about you, Fede? Who do you think has this? You had some insight into this race.
I do, yeah. So this race is going to be the last pro race for Swiss athlete Jan van Berkel, the Keto Cup, as his coach Dan Plus calls him. So I'm going to go with him. I think it's going to be a good farewell race for him. I think he's going to want to have a really good race. So I'm going to go with him, Jan van Berkel.
Love it. And honestly, that's who I was going to go with, but I will pick someone else here. Let's go with Patrick Nielsen.
Oh, dark horse.
You never know. We'll see if it pays off in the end. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys, for joining me once again. It's always good to chat all things triathlon and geek out a little bit on the Tour de France this time. For listeners, we will be back next week. Send in your questions. Check out the show notes. We'll link to a couple things we chatted about there so you can see our social media posts of the week and read a little bit more about our What the F moment. And then, as always, go follow us on social media at Another Triathlon Podcast. And you can also send in any of your questions, any of your social media posts there. And we look forward to hearing more from you so that we can bring you the content you want. Thanks so much, guys. Have an awesome night.
Have a great week and enjoy training.
Have fun, guys. See you later.